Hi, my name is Jay. I'm from AAA CDL School. We're located in Manassas, Virginia, in the heart of DC Metropolitan. We specialize in Class A and Class B CDLs. Today, I'll be performing a Class A CDL inspection using our manual Freightliner. We will be using a checklist which is provided in our course material book. You can buy this book from AAA CDL School office. We're going to start from inside with the in-vehicle inspection using the checklist, which is on page 30. The wheels are already chalked. I'm going to go inside and start the in-cab inspection. Make sure when you enter the truck, you perform three-point contact and you face the truck. My right hand goes on the handrail. My left hand should go on a handrail. If it's not available, your hand should go on the steering wheel. Maintain three-point contact as you enter. We're going to use a pen and our phone later on for the brake test. Now, we're going to use our checklist, which is located on page 30 on your book. First thing we will perform is our governor cutoff test. To perform the cutoff test, you need to safe start the engine. Take the key out from your pocket. Put the key in the on position. And you're going to monitor the ABS lights for the tractor and the trailer, along with the ABS lights on the trailer outside. Mention to the tester, my ABS lights are on and off, and my ABS trailer light is also on and off. We're going to perform a governor cutoff test. Make sure the gear shifter is in neutral. Press the clutch and start the engine. Give it a little bit gas between 13 and 15 RPMs so it speeds up the process. Keep in mind, this is your governor cutoff test. What you're looking for is the truck sneeze. After you hear the truck sneeze, you're going to mention the range, you're going to mention it is working properly, and we're going to mention that our air pressure gauge is also working properly. I just heard the truck sneeze. At this moment, tell the tester, Mr. Tester, that is my governor cutoff. Identify it. Number 2, it is between 120 and 140 psi. And point out your primary and secondary air pressure gauges. Mention they are working properly. Keep in mind, this is number 1 test for the air brake check. We just finished. That is our governor cutoff test. Now I'll perform number 2, which is our 1-minute time leak. Remind the tester the wheels are chalked, and I'm going to perform my 1-minute time leak. 3 steps. You're going to put the engine off and bring the key back to the on position. Second step, you're going to release your tractor and trailer parking brakes. We're going to wait for the pressure to settle down. I'm just waiting for the pressure to settle. The pressure is settled. I'm going to use my phone for 1 minute. Third step, you're going to put your foot on the brake and start your timer. I'm going to hold the brake for 1 minute and monitor my pressure gauges. There should not be any leak. If there is a leak in the truck, your pressure gauges will start going down as soon as you put your foot on the brake. For the test, keep your foot on the brake, do not remove it, hold it for 1 minute, and keep monitoring your air pressure gauges. Right now we are at 30 seconds. We're going to wait for the whole minute. And yes, you are allowed to use your cell phone for 1 minute. It's been 1 minute. Notice my foot is still on the brake. After 1 minute, look at the tester and tell him I did not lose more than 4 psi. That means I have no leaks. That finishes my 1 minute time leak. At this point, write down 2. You finish with the 2 test. Number 3 is your fan down test. For fan down, we're going to pump the brake pedal and drop the pressure. Let the tester know between 40 and 60 psi, I will hear the buzzer and I will see a warning light that will show up on my dash. And around 40 and 20 psi, my parking brake valves should pop out. Let's start the test. I'm going to start pumping the brake now. As you notice, the pressure is dropping. When you hear the buzzer, take a pause and tell the tester, my buzzer is on and my low pressure warning light is on. Point it out. Tell the tester I'm going to continue pumping until my parking brake valves pop out, tractor and the trailer. Keep an eye out on the parking brakes. Mr. Tester, let him know, both of my emergency brakes popped out. They're working properly. That finishes my fan down test, which is number 3. At this point, make sure you check mark this on your test. Next test is your parking and trailer brake check. I also like to call it the tug test. To perform the tug test, we need to go outside and remove the wheel chocks. I'm going to step out. I'm going to take my key with me. I'll perform 3-point contact and keep the key with you and step out. Place the key in your pocket and remove the wheel chocks. Put them on the side, and we're going to continue with our brake test, and we're going to go back inside. The chocks have been removed. Now we're going to perform our parking and trailer brake check, which is also called tug test. Remove the key back from your pocket and safe start the engine again. Wait for the ABS lights. We're going to start the engine and build the pressure back to the governor cutoff range. Give a guess. We will be performing our parking and trailer brake check, which is our parking and trailer brake check 1 by 1. In order for us to do that, we're going to wait for the pressure to go back up to the governor cutoff range, which is 120 and 140 psi, and wait for the truck to sneeze. At this point, mention again, that is my cutoff between 120 and 140 psi. My pressure gauges are working properly. Now, just like on the checklist, we'll perform our parking and trailer brake check. Like here. This is our parking and trailer brake check. Tug test, we'll perform them 1 by 1. I'm going to put my book right there. Make sure you put your seatbelt on as well. I'm going to release my trailer brake and I will check my tractor parking brake. For manual, make sure you do not press any gas or the brake. Only use the clutch and use the first gear. Make sure you tug the truck. Put it back in neutral and mention my tractor parking brake is working properly. Now I'm going to check my trailer parking brake. Engage the trailer parking brake. and release your tractor brake. We're going to perform the tuck test again using the first gear. No gas or brake on the manual, only use the clutch. And tug the truck again. Put it back in neutral. Mention my trailer parking brake is working properly as well. That completes our parking and trailer brake check. I'm going to perform the service brake check now. To perform the service brake check, you have to pull forward 5 miles an hour and apply our foot brake, which is our service brake. Let's do the test. Release your parking brakes. For the manual truck, make sure you use gear number 4 or number 5. For automatic, simply put it in drive and pull forward 5 miles an hour. Both hands on the wheel. That's 5 miles an hour. I'm going to apply the brake. Come to a complete stop. After you come to a complete stop, put the gear in neutral and apply your parking brakes. At this point, you're going to tell the tester 3 things. Number 1, point out the service brake. My service brake is working properly. Second item you want to mention is your speedometer. Mention the speedometer is working properly. And then mention my truck did not pull to the right or to the left. At this point, make sure you check mark your service brake. After you perform your service brake check, we're going to go to the lighting indicators. Turn off the truck and put the key back in the on position so you can talk to the tester properly. To perform the lighting indicators, start with the right indicator. Point it out and mention my right turn signal is working properly. The left turn signal indicators is working properly. My four-way flasher indicators are working properly. And the last one we will perform is our high beams. My high beams indicator is working properly as well. After you finish your lighting indicators, make sure you put a check mark. Next, we'll perform emergency equipment. So for the emergency equipment, we have to mention 3 items. Number 1 is my 10 BC fire extinguisher. Mention it is fully charged, properly mounted, up to date. The second emergency item is your 3 reflective triangles. Make sure you locate them where they are in your truck or ask your instructor. Inspect the box. The triangle box is not cracked or damaged. Properly mounted, it is in a good condition. And my triangles, 3 reflective triangles, are not cracked or damaged and they're in good condition. The third emergency item that we will mention is your spare fuses. Simply say, my truck is equipped with the circuit breakers. I do not need any spare fuses. Now, after you finish your 3 emergency equipment, make sure you put a check mark next to the emergency equipment. Now we're going to go on to the next item on the list, which is your windshield and traffic monitoring devices. Traffic monitoring devices is just your mirrors or cameras if you have any in your truck. My windshield. My windshield is not cracked or damaged. It is in a good condition. It is properly mounted. No holes. There are no obstructions, no illegal stickers, and my inspection sticker is up to date. After the windshield, mention your mirrors. Look on both sides and mention my mirrors are properly adjusted for me. They are clean, not cracked or broken. After that, check mark it. We're going to continue on to the wipers and the washers. There's two items, your arm and blade. Mention my windshield wiper arms, the metal part, is not cracked or damaged. It is in a good condition and the screws are present. And the blade is not cracked or dry rotted. Proper tension on the windshield. And we're going to turn on the wipers as well and mention the wash and the wipe is working properly. Make sure you put a check mark. Next, we will check our heater and defroster. The controls, make sure you find them in your truck. I like to start with the defroster. Turn on the fan. Place your hand and mention my defroster is working properly. I would like you to change it to the face and foot for the heater. Use your hands to check. You're going to mention my heater and defroster is working properly. Make sure you check mark it after you finish. And the last one is your horns. We have two horns. First one is your city horn. Make sure you press and check. My city horn is working properly. And the other one is your highway horn. Make sure you check it and mention my highway horn is working properly as well. Place a check mark. After this, our next section is the light operation check. You're going to look at the tester and let the tester know we're going to check our lights. Mr. Tester, would you please help me check my lights? You're going to check the front lights, side of the vehicle, rear of the trailer, right side of the vehicle, and the right turn signal on the right side. Make sure you check all the lights. Put the key in the on position and turn on your lights. My ID lights on top, my clearance lights on top, my right turn signal, my left turn signal, my four-way flashers, my headlights, my high beams, and my fog lights. Now tell the tester, please check my left turn signal. After this, we're going to tell the tester to check your clearance lights on the trailer. Make sure they're on. The tester should give you a thumbs up after each light. Check the right turn signal on the tractor as well, on the right side of the tractor. And also the clearance lights on the trailer on the right side as well. Mr. Tester, please check my 3 ID lights on top. Now, my left turn signal, my right turn signal, my four-way flashers, and finally the brake lights. After you check your lights, make sure you tell the tester, "Thank you for helping me check my lights." Make sure your key is in your pocket. First thing I would like you to do is re-chalk your wheels. Make sure to put the wheel chocks back on. Same tire, front and back. Now we're going to continue with our outside inspection as stated on the checklist. Make sure you place a check mark on the light operation check. Now we are at the front of the vehicle engine area section. The first item on the checklist is your lenses. What I would like you to do is start from top to bottom, name all the lights first. Mr. Tester, I have 3 ID lights. I have 2 clearance lights. This is my right turn signal. This is my left turn signal. And these are also my 4-way flashers. This is my headlights and high beams. This is my headlights and high beams. These are my fog lights. After you mention their name and point them out properly, mention, all of my lights are clean, not cracked, properly attached, no condensation, and proper color. After that, place a check mark on the lenses. We're going to continue on to the fluid levels. Keep in mind, we have to check 3 fluid levels. Number 1 is your engine oil. Number 2 is your coolant. And number 3 is your power steering fluid. In order for us to do that, we're going to open the hood. There are 2 straps on both sides. Open one side. Open the other. Make sure you put your right foot up and your right arm. Open the hood. Now we're going to check our engine oil, which is on the passenger side. Now we're going to check our fluid levels. Keep in mind, we have 3. Number 1 is your engine oil. Number 2 is your coolant reservoir. And number 3 is your power steering fluid. On this side, we're going to check our engine oil. Explain like this. This is my engine oil dipstick. This is my engine oil fill tube. I'll check the level like this. You do not have to check at the test. Simply explain how to. I will take out the dipstick, clean it, put it back in, take it out and check the level, and add as needed into the fill tube. After you explain all that, tell the tester my engine oil is at proper level. Now we're going to check our coolant and power steering, which is on the other side. Point it out with your stick and mention, this is my coolant reservoir. It is not cracked or damaged. It is in a good condition. I do not see any leaks. It is properly mounted to the truck. Mention, the cap is present. Cap is not missing. The wires are not burnt or damaged. Make sure to talk about the hoses. The hoses are not cracked or frayed or dry rotted. They are not leaking and the connections or fittings are tight. Finally, talk about the level. Mention my coolant is filled to the proper level. If I need to add more, I will do so when the engine is cold. Number 3 is our power steering fluid reservoir. Point it out and mention my power steering reservoir. It is not cracked or damaged. It is properly mounted. I do not see any leaks. The hoses are not cracked or frayed or dry rotted. There's 2 of them. They are not leaking. Connections or fittings are tight. And finally, check the level. I can see it is filled to the proper level. If I need to add more, I'll remove this cap and add as needed. And then mention my power steering is gear driven. After you finish all 3 fluid levels, which is your engine oil, coolant, and your power steering, make sure you put a check mark on your checklist. Now, we're going to perform our next item on the checklist, which is your fluid and air leaks. To do that, you simply have to inspect this side and mention, I do not see any puddles or I do not hear any leaks coming from this side on all the hoses. Then we're going to go towards the front. At the front, I would like you to sit down and look under the engine compartment. You want to mention, I do not see any leaks or puddles. I'm looking for engine oil, transmission, power steering, and coolant fluid. I do not see any leaks. Finally, for fluid and air leaks, you want to say the same thing on the other side, on the passenger side. And finally, on this side, your passenger side, you want to mention it again. I do not see or hear any leaks coming from any of the hoses on this side as well. Now, after you mention, make sure you check mark again your fluid and air leaks from the passenger side, front, and the driver side, and place a check mark next to it. Next, we're going to perform our steering system on the driver side. After your fluid and air leaks, we're going to perform our steering system. Start with your steering gear box. Mention the steering gear box is not cracked, dent, or broken, no non-factory or illegal welds. It is not missing any bolts or nuts or screws. Steering gear box is not leaking. Mention it is properly mounted or attached onto the frame. The two hoses, they're not cracked, frayed, or dry rotted. They're not leaking. Connections or fittings are tight. We're going to continue with the steering system. Point out your pitman arm, your drag link, and your tie rods, and mention they are not cracked, dent, or broken, no non-factory or illegal welds. They're in a good condition and not worn out. They're not missing any bolts or nuts. On all three joints, mention they are properly lubricated. They're properly lubricated, and it is properly lubricated. Finally, the last thing is your 3 castle nuts with cotter pins present. Point them all out. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. After you finish your steering system, make sure you point out and place a check mark next to your steering system. Now, we're going to perform our front axle, your steering axle, and the first item under the steering axle is your tires. My tires, no cuts, no damage, no bulges. My inside and outside sidewalls, also no damage, no cuts, and no bulges. Mention the tread. My tread is no less than 4 by 32 inch, and it is evenly worn out. I will check the tread with the depth gauge. Mention my front tires, both of them, they cannot be recapped, retreaded, regrooved, or mismatched. Mention the inflation. The tire pressure is at 100 psi, and I will also check that with the pressure gauge at the metal valve stem. Mention my valve stem is not cracked or damaged. It is not leaking, and it is in a good condition. After you mention your tires, make sure you put a check mark next to your tires. Next is your rims. Mention my inside rim and my outside rim. It is not cracked, dent, or broken, no non-factory or illegal welds. It is in a good condition, no damage, no holes, and no rust trails. Finally, mention my rim is not elongated around the lug nuts. After the rim, make sure you place a check mark next to the rims. Next on the checklist is our lug nuts. Make sure you check each lug nut with your hand, like this. All of my lug nuts are present. They are tight. There is no rust or shiny metal. They are not loose. Then mention my lug nuts and studs. Lug nuts and studs, they're not cracked or damaged. They're in a good condition. After you finish the lug nuts, place a check mark. Now we're going to perform our suspension. On the checklist it says spring mounts and shocks. Mr. Tester, my front and rear leaf spring mounts and U-bolt, they are not cracked, dent or broken, no non-factory or illegal welds. The mounts are not damaged, they're not missing any bolts or nuts, and properly attached to the frame. My leaf springs are not cracked, dent or broken, no non-factory or illegal welds. They're in a good condition. Now you want to mention my leaf springs are aligned, they're not shifted, and they're not missing. If more than 1/4 is missing, my truck will be placed out of service. Finally, for suspension, point out your shock absorber and mention my shock absorber is not cracked or damaged. I do not see any leaks, and my shock absorber is properly attached onto the frame. After you mention your suspension, place a check mark next to your spring mounts and shocks. The next item we have is our brake lines or hoses and leaks. We're simply inspecting the air brake hose that goes into the air brake chamber. Point out the hose and mention my air brake hose or line is not cracked or frayed or dry rotted. It is not leaking, and the connections or fittings are tight. Keep in mind, on the checklist it says and leaks. After you mention the hose, I would like you to go like this, check for the leaks on the air brakes and mention, Mr. Tester, I do not hear any leaks coming from the air brakes. After you mention your hose and leaks on the air brakes, make sure you place a check mark onto the brake lines. Finally, our last item on the steering axle is your brake contaminants. Brake contaminants are talking about the oil or grease onto the brake drum. At the test, point out the brake drum, inspect it, and mention, I do not see any oil or grease. My brake drum is free of any oil or grease. Point out the brake linings and mention my brake linings are not too thin or worn out. After you mention your brake contaminants on your brake drum, make sure you point out and check mark brake contaminants. That completes our steering axle. Now, before you continue on to the side of the vehicle, you're going to close the hood. And put the straps back on. Before you continue on, make sure you mention my truck is sitting at level. It is not leaning right or left. That means the suspension is in a good condition. Now we are at the side of the vehicle section. The first item under the side of the vehicle is my lenses and reflectors. Start with the left turn signal or side marker. Point it out. This is my left turn signal or side marker. It is clean, not cracked, properly attached, no condensation, and proper color. Now we're going to do the lenses, which are my clearance lights and ABS lights on the trailer. Point out your clearance light. I have one clearance light on top. The other two lights are on the back of the trailer. My clearance light and my ABS light. After you point out all three on the trailer, mention all three of them, they are clean, not cracked, properly attached, no condensation, and a proper color. And the reflectors, mention my DOT stickers. They're not faded, they're not damaged, they're properly attached onto the trailer. After you mention your lenses and reflector on the side of the vehicle, make sure you place a check mark. The next is our traffic monitoring devices, which is just your mirrors. Walk towards your mirrors and inspect them. My mirrors are clean, they're not cracked or broken, they're in a good condition. And my mirror mounts, they're not cracked or damaged, they're not missing any bolts or nuts or screws, and properly mounted onto the truck. After you mention your traffic monitoring devices, make sure you place a check mark. After your traffic monitoring devices, the next item on the checklist is your battery. My battery box is not cracked or damaged. It is in a good condition. It is properly mounted. After you talk about the box, open it so we can inspect the batteries. First, mention number one, the batteries are properly mounted. They're in a good condition. They're not missing any bolts or nuts or screws. All the wires are not burnt or damaged. And I do not see any excessive corrosion. After that, close the box again. Make sure it is properly latched. Keep in mind, you want to mention 4 items on the battery. Number 1, they're properly mounted. Number 2, they're not missing any bolts or nuts or screws. Number 3, all the wires are not burned or damaged. And number 4, make sure you mention there's no excessive corrosion. After you mention your battery, including the box, make sure you place a check mark next to the battery. Now we're going to go towards the fuel tank, which is the next item on the checklist. Now, the next item after the battery is your fuel tank / def tank. My truck does not have a def tank. If your truck has one, make sure you talk about it as well. My fuel tank. My fuel tank is not cracked or damaged. I do not see any leaks. It is properly or securely mounted and attached towards the frame. The cap is present. Cap is not damaged or loose or missing. The seal is in a good condition. The hose is not cracked or frayed or dry rotted. I do not see any leaks. The wires are not burnt or damaged. And finally, talk about the straps. My fuel tank straps, they're not cracked or damaged. They're in a good condition. They're not missing any bolts or nuts or screws, and properly or securely mounted onto the frame. After you talk about the fuel tank, make sure you put a check mark on your checklist at the test. The next item is my frames. First frame is your tractor frame. Point out my frame and the cross members. My frame and cross members, they are not cracked or dent or broken, no non-factory or illegal welds. It is in a good condition, no damage, and it's not missing any bolts or nuts. The second frame we have is for the trailer. Mention your trailer frame and all the cross members. They're not cracked, dent, or broken, no non-factory or illegal welds. They're in a good condition. They're not missing any bolts or nuts or screws, properly attached onto the trailer. And finally, you want to mention the trailer bed or the floor has no damage, no holes, and it is in a good condition. After you mention both of your frames, make sure you place a check mark next to your frame. The next section is our combination vehicles. We're going to go inspect our air lines, electric lines, and then we're going to do our coupling system. Now we're going to talk about the frames. First frame is your tractor frame. Point out my frame and the cross members. My frame and cross members, they are not cracked or dent or broken, no non-factory or illegal welds. It is in a good condition, no damage, and it's not missing any bolts or nuts. The second frame we have is for the trailer. Mention your trailer frame and all the cross members. They're not cracked, dent, or broken, no non-factory or illegal welds. They're in a good condition. They're not missing any bolts or nuts or screws, properly attached onto the trailer. And finally, you want to mention the trailer bed or the floor has no damage, no holes, and it is in a good condition. After you mention both of your frames, make sure you place a check mark next to your frame. The next section is our combination vehicles. We're going to go inspect our air lines, electric lines, and then we're going to do our coupling system. Now we're going to talk about our combination vehicles only. And the first item is my air and electric lines and connectors. Let's talk about them. My blue service air hose and the red emergency air hoses. Both of them, they're not cracked or frayed or dry rotted. They're in a good condition and I do not see or hear any leaks. Check the connectors. The connectors are not cracked or damaged, good condition. I do not hear any leaks. On the other side, check your glad hands. Glad hands are not cracked or damaged. They're also in a good condition. I do not hear any leaks. Mention the rubber seal is not split. Now, our green electric cable. The electric cable is not burnt or damaged. It is in a good condition. Check the connector. Connector is not damaged. It is in a good condition, properly connected. Check the other side. The connector is in a good condition, not damaged, and it is properly connected. Then you want to mention they are not tangled or dragging, and they're in a good condition. After you mention your electric lines and your service and emergency hose, make sure you place a check mark. Next, we're going to perform our coupling system, which is our fifth wheel, apron, your release arm, pivot pin, your platform, mounting bolts and nuts, kingpin and locking jaws, which is over here. Now, we're going to talk about our coupling system. And on the checklist, as you can see, it will be under the combination vehicle. It's fifth wheel, kingpin, locking, and safety devices. Let's talk about them. Keep 8 parts in mind. Start with, this is my apron. Apron is not cracked or damaged. It is in a good condition. It is properly attached onto the trailer. My apron is resting securely on my fifth wheel. There is no space or daylight in between. My fifth wheel is not cracked or damaged. It is in a good condition. My fifth wheel is properly lubricated, and my fifth wheel is in a locked position, and the safety pin is not damaged and in place. Number 3 is my release arm. Release arm is in a locked position. Number 4 is our pivot pin with the cotter pin. The pivot pin and the cotter pin is not cracked, it's not damaged, it is in a good condition and not missing. Number 5 is our platform. Platform is not cracked or damaged or broken, no illegal welds, it is in a good condition, and the platform is properly mounted on top of the frame. Number 6 is our mounting bolts and nuts. On the side, the mounting bolts and nuts are not cracked or damaged. They're not loose or missing. They're in a good condition. Number 7 is our kingpin. To perform the kingpin, make sure you go under the trailer and point out your kingpin. Kingpin is not cracked or dent or broken. No non-factory or illegal welds. It is in a good condition. And number 8 is our locking jaws. Mention the locking jaws are securely around the kingpin shank. And finally, for combination, mention there is no play between the kingpin and the locking jaws. They're in a proper contact. After you come out, make sure you check mark your combination, all of it. That finishes our combination. Next, we're going to talk about the trailer, which is going to be our landing gear and clearance. My landing gear is not cracked or dent or broken, good condition, properly attached. The foot is raised to the highest position. The handle or crank is in a secure place. And finally mention there is enough clearance between my frame and the landing gear. After you mention your landing gear, make sure you check mark landing gear and clearance. Next item under trailer only is your reflective tape. We mentioned it one more time. My DOT stickers are not faded, they are not damaged, they're properly attached onto the trailer. After that, make sure you check mark your reflective tape. Finally, the last item we have is the rear of the trailer. Finally, we're going to do the rear of the trailer, which is your lenses and reflectors. I like to start from top to bottom. I have 3 ID lights, point them out. This is my right turn signal, this is my left turn signal, and these are also my 4-way flashers. This is my brake lights, and my tag light. Now you want to mention all of my lights, they are clean, not cracked, properly attached, no condensation, and proper color. My DOT stickers, they're not faded, they're not damaged, they're properly attached onto the trailer. We are finished with our pre-trip inspection. Make sure you go through the checklist one more time, just to make sure you've hit every part. I hope this video helps you pass your Class A CDL exam. I wish you best of luck.